Welcome to our daily Bible study. I am your host, Dr. Derek A. Reeves, and today we're going to continue on in the series, Ergon Sarx, Problems of the Flesh. Today's lesson is Works of the Flesh, Part 2. Let's dive right in so we can unpack the necessary things for this session. Galatians chapter 5, verse 18 through verse 21. We're going to try to go through the entirety of these again. I know we unpacked some of these in the previous lesson, but I want to review it and then go through it again. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. He's talking about the Old Testament law, the civil law, and all of the laws of Moses, which comprise the behavior patterns of the children of God in this particular point in time. And so when we go into the lesson today and we unpack this, we can find some very interesting things. He says, now the works of the flesh, as we remember when we looked at the term works, it is the word ergon. Ergon specifically talks about the deeds or those things that are necessary to be done or will be done, or the work. And so it literally deals with the occupation. Excuse me. And so the occupation of something or someone that deals with their employment, that which one undertakes. And so it appears to be a specific behavioral pattern, and within this behavioral pattern, these are things that normally are done. And so the normal operations of the flesh, remember, flesh then is sarx. Sarx is the humanity that is basically, as Jesus said, that which is born of the flesh is flesh. And so it can deal specifically with the body, the soul, and the spirit, the trichotomic being of man. The body, of course, the somatic structure, which encases or which is integrated by the soul. The soul is the breathing creature according to Genesis chapter 2 and 7. Genesis explains that God formed man out of the dust of the ground, and he breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And so the soul, nephesh, is the living creature, and the spirit, which according to the scriptures in Genesis, and we go back to Genesis because this is a foundational scripture that reveals what we call the law of first mention. And so when we speak of the soul is the breathing creature, and the ruach, or the spirit, is the breath that is breathed. And so the concept then, the spirit sustains the soul, and the natural life of the body now filters throughout the somatic structure or the physiology. And so the works of the humanity are revealed, and again they deal with adultery. Adultery is specifically the word moikia. Moikia specifically deals with adultery, and that is the breaking of a covenant. It can encompass all kinds of sexual sins and involves at least one person who is married. And then he speaks of fornication. Fornication, poinia. Porneia is harlotry, which includes adultery and incest. It can deal with idolatry, but it deals with illicit sexual intercourse. So it can deal with homosexuality, lesbianism, intercourse with animals or bestiality, with close relatives, sexual intercourse with a divorced man or a woman, specifically anyone and anything that brings sexual desire and fulfillment of illicit desires for sex outside of marriage. It can even deal with masturbation. It is the stimulation of sexual urges And we always have to remember that these sexual urges God expected for us to maintain and to gain the victory over, so in marriage that we could consistently be faithful to our spouse. So all sexual behavior and sexual desire should be fulfilled in marriage. Then there is the word uncleanness. Uncleanness is the word akath arsia. Akath arsia. And so that deals with impurity, physically or morally, uncleanness. And so it's, in a moral sense, the impurity of lustful, luxurious, living life to the extravagance and doing just about any and everything that is so desired from a moral nature. And this morality can actually seep over into the sexual behaviors. Then there is the word lasciviousness, aselgia. Aselgia, intemperance or uncontrolled, licentious, insolence, outrageous behavior. And so it can deal with filthy, lascivious wantonness, where an individual goes to pursue whatever it is they desire and whatever it is they have a taste for. And so it's running wild to fulfill whatever desire is there, whether it's clean or unclean. But typically it is unclean. Idolatry. This comes from the word idolatria. Idolatria. Image worship. And so it is worshiping false gods. It is a form of sacrificial feasts held in honor of the gods. It is of avarice as a worship of money. And so this again deals with coming to false gods, worshiping false gods, and therefore making something on the level of God or greater than God. We come now to witchcraft. Witchcraft is used here in this sense as pharmakia. Pharmakia, some say pharmakia, but it's pharmakia. And so it deals with the employment of drugs for any purpose, for sorcery, magic, or enchantment. It also deals with medication. This is the word we get our word pharmacy from, and that's an extension of magic, sorcery, or witchcraft. And so it can deal with sorcery and the magical arts, utilizing drugs, potions, or herbs. It can also deal with administering drugs or actually poisoning someone. Hatred is the word ekthra. It is enmity and discord, a state of being hostile, a state of hating, or is an implication for a reason for opposition, fighting, and constantly at one another to destroy one another. If we move on, we can come to the word variance. Variance is the word eris. Eris means altercation or strife, contentious, a disposition that causes one to consistently quarrel and to raise their antennas, being ready to fight. Then we go to the next term, which is the word emulations. Emulations, zelos. Zelos then deals with envy, a fervent jealousy, an ardent affection that causes indignation or wrath. As we move on, again, I want to try to get through all of these as much as possible. Then we come with the term wrath. Wrath is the word thumos. Thumos then deals with fierceness, fierce indignation. It is when the soul, the mind, and passions are intermingled, and it's a form of anger, a swelling anger, anger that becomes passionate, that can actually lead to murder or violence. We go to the term strife. Strife is the word erithia, and it deals with the intrigue, or to cause factions, or to breed something that rips relationships apart. And so it's the service of a party, the spirit of feuding factions. Now, if we continue to go, and this is getting very, very interesting, because now we come to the word seditions, diakostasia, or diakostasia, and it means with dissension or disunion or division. It's interesting because when we deal with seditions can literally deal with just about the similar thing as erithia, splitting parties, causing parties to be isolated into cliques. But when we deal with seditions literally deals with causing disunion and causing division specifically for a genuine purpose. And I'm just about out of time, but I'm going to try to move on because we have just a few left. Heresies. Heresies is the word ha-iresis, and that deals again with disunion. Heresy in the Greek word by itself simply means picking parties, the act of taking or capturing, storming a city. And so what it is choosing, making choices to be separated from the entirety of the body. When we move on, envyings. Again, the word envyings is a very interesting word because the basis of it is envy. It is from the word phthanos, and it means ill will, a detraction, that is spiting one another because of envy. Jealousy is actually a mild form of fear that someone is taking what rightfully belongs to you. And as the old saying is, jealousy is crueler than the grave. When we come to the next one, phanos, which is murder, a killing, slaughter, or murder, to slay, to be slain, or to slaughter. Then we have drunkenness, and the term drunkenness is the word methe, and that means an intoxicant, that is an implication, intoxication, drunkenness. Drunkenness can be connected to things that happen with drugs, but basically it is an elixir, something that we drink. And the final one is revelings. Revelings from the word komos, which means a festive procession, a merrymaking, in a revel, lewdness, immoral feasting, carousing. And so riotous carousal living that causes one, and typically what we would say in today's time, individuals who party, and sometimes these orgies that take place, this would be considered to be lascivious reveling. And these revelings then, again, move a person into it, the exploration and the activities of letting the flesh consistently go wild. We are out of time. We went a little over, but we thank God for you being with us. Again, I am your host, Dr. Derek A. Reeves, and this is our daily Bible study. God bless you until the next time.